There's something unsettling about hotel rooms. You sleep in a bed countless strangers have used. The walls have heard thousands of conversations, some mundane, others filled with dark secrets. But what if the room you check into comes with more than fresh sheets and a room key? What if it comes with something unseen? Welcome to 3 true horror stories of hotel stays that went terribly wrong. True scary horror stories that will leave you double-checking the door lock the next time you're away from home. These terrifying tales are based on eerie encounters, ghost stories, and paranormal experiences that prove the worst nightmares don't always happen home alone. Sometimes, they happen in the room right next to yours. Or worse, the one you're in. If you're fascinated by haunted tales, creepy stories, and sleep paralysis demons, smash that like button, subscribe, and turn on the bell for more true horror stories that you won't soon forget. Now dim the lights, and remember. When you're far from home, you're more vulnerable than ever. This story is about Room 409. After a stressful breakup, Noah booked a quiet weekend trip to a small mountain town. The hotel was a quaint 3-story building with antique decor, glowing fireplaces, and soft jazz playing in the lobby. He checked into room 409, a corner room overlooking a fog-covered forest. That night, as he got ready for bed, the power flickered. Not unusual for the area, the receptionist had told him. But just as the room went dim, Noah heard a soft knock on the door. Then another. He checked, no one was there. Assuming it was a prank or someone knocking on the wrong room, he ignored it. But at exactly 3:13 a.m., he woke up to something much worse. He couldn't move. His body frozen, eyes wide open, and heart racing, he saw a pale woman standing in the far corner of the room. Her head tilted unnaturally to one side, hair matted, eyes hollow. Her mouth opened, but no sound came out. She didn't walk, she drifted, closer and closer, until she was inches from his face. Then, nothing. When he could move again, the room was freezing. His breath visible in the air. But the heater was still on. The next morning, the front desk agent looked startled when Noah asked about room 409. The clerk stammered and said, "No one's used that room in years. We've had complaints." Noah demanded answers. A manager finally explained that a woman had died in room 409 2 decades earlier. A solo traveler, heartbroken and alone, who never checked out. Guests who stay there report the same terrifying tales, sleep paralysis, ghostly figures, and the unshakable sense that they're being watched. Noah left immediately. But the haunted stories didn't stop. Back in his apartment, things felt off. He would hear faint knocking from the walls. Objects moved. Once, he woke to find a hotel receipt for room 409, tucked into his nightstand drawer, dated 2 days after he'd left. Was she following him? Or had she never left at all? Some urban legends don't stay put. Some follow you. Especially the ones that were lonely in life, and lonelier in death. Noah's nights became dominated by horror stories for sleep, episodes where he'd jolt awake at exactly 3:13 a.m., drenched in sweat, unable to breathe. Mirrors fogged without reason. He'd see glimpses of a shadow in reflections, never clear but unmistakably present. Each chilling encounter added to a growing list of eerie experiences that even the most hardened skeptics couldn't explain. He tried to move on. Switched apartments. Burned sage. Even started wearing a crucifix to bed. But the paranormal activity intensified. His lights would flicker rhythmically, always 3 times. Soft jazz would play from his speakers on its own, an echo from the hotel lobby, now burned into his waking reality. Once, he found a sticky note on his fridge. It simply read, "Check out." In one of the most terrifying tales yet, Noah recorded himself sleeping to catch evidence of what was happening. The footage showed him tossing, turning, and then sitting straight up, eyes open, but not conscious. A moment later, His voice, distorted, unlike his own, said, "I never left room 409. The video ended with the sound of knocking, once, twice, and a final, louder third. These true horror stories, true scary horror stories, and creepy stories like Noah's are more than just tales to make your skin crawl. They're warnings. That the haunted, the dark secrets, and the nightmare tales don't always belong to the past. Sometimes, they follow you home. And sometimes, you bring them back with you, in your dreams. This story is about the Do Not Disturb room. Olivia and her boyfriend Miguel were attending a wedding in New Orleans. They stayed at a historic hotel in the French Quarter, known for its chilling scares, creepy stories, and eerie architecture. Their room, tucked at the end of a dim hallway, had a strange detail they couldn't ignore, a door tag that said, "Do Not Disturb, Room 211. Except they weren't in room 211. They were in 215. Confused, Miguel removed the tag and handed it to housekeeping. No big deal, they thought. Just a mix-up. But that night, as they returned from the wedding, the tag was back, only this time, it was hanging inside their room. On the bathroom door. At exactly 2:22 a.m., Olivia woke to whispers, soft, pleading whispers, coming from inside the bathroom. She nudged Miguel awake, and they both listened closely. The voice was faint, almost sad, and repeated the same chilling phrase over and over. "Please let me out, please let me out." Miguel opened the bathroom door slowly. Empty. But the mirror was fogged, as if someone had just exhaled on it. And written in the condensation were the words, "Don't remove the tag." Thinking it was some twisted prank, Miguel went downstairs to complain. But when the staff pulled up their reservation, the front desk manager went pale. "That's not possible," he said. "Room 215 has been off limits for years. It's under investigation for unusual activity." Meanwhile, back upstairs, Olivia sat alone in silence, until the closet door creaked open. Not slowly. Violently. Inside were just folded towels, and something else. A single, antique-style hotel key. The kind no hotel uses anymore. And etched on the metal tag was one word, Room 211. Miguel rushed back up, and they immediately began packing to leave. But as they wheeled their suitcase down the narrow hallway, they passed a door at the very end. Room 211. The handle was worn, the wood around it gouged with deep scratches. Like fingernails. And from inside came the unmistakable sound of soft scratching. Something, or someone, was still in there. They checked out immediately and never returned. But even after escaping that hotel, the paranormal didn't let go. Olivia began experiencing the same true scary horror stories she thought they left behind, Home Alone horror stories that got worse over time. Back in her apartment, she would sometimes hear faint knocking from inside her closet. And on one particularly cold morning, she stepped into her bathroom to find the mirror fogged again, with the same words from New Orleans. "Don't remove the tag." She tried burning sage. Sleeping with the lights on. Playing white noise to drown out the whispers. But none of it helped. In fact, it made things worse. Her dog refused to enter the bathroom. Her electronics would turn on at 2:22 a.m., playing static that gradually morphed into that same ghostly whisper. Olivia recorded it once. And when she played it back, the audio said something new. "You took my silence. Now I follow your voice." Even Miguel began experiencing paranormal phenomena in his own apartment miles away. Doors opening on their own. Disembodied voices mimicking Olivia. One night, he found a piece of paper slipped under his door. It was a room tag. It read, "Do not disturb, room 211. These aren't just urban legends or haunted tales. These are true horror stories, Terrifying tales that make you realize some places don't want you to leave. And some entities never forget the people who ignored their warnings. So if you ever find something strange in your hotel room, an old room key, a fogged mirror message, or a misplaced "Do Not Disturb" tag, don't be brave. Leave. Because some haunted stories don't want to be disturbed. They want to disturb you. This story is about Floor 13. Jared was a traveling software consultant, spending nearly 200 nights a year in hotels. He was used to late check-ins, lonely dinners, and sleeping with white noise. But nothing prepared him for the night he checked into a luxury hotel in downtown Chicago, and was assigned room 1304. He hesitated for a moment. Most hotels deliberately skip labeling a 13th floor due to superstition. But this one didn't. And room 1304 sat directly above a sealed-off conference hall that had been unused since a deadly fire decades earlier. The staff didn't mention it, but Jared had seen enough urban legends to feel uneasy. That night, he dozed off watching TV, only to jolt awake hours later, gasping for air, chest tight, vision blurry. He wasn't in bed. He was lying on the floor. The window was wide open. Curtains whipping in the wind. The bed untouched. His wrists were red, like something had dragged him across the carpet. Then, from the bathroom, came singing. A woman's voice. Soft, sweet, humming a lullaby. But he was alone. Panicked, Jared called the front desk. Security arrived within minutes, but as soon as they stepped inside, everything was calm. No open window. No cold wind. Just the faint, unmistakable smell of smoke. Later that night, at exactly 3 a.m., the fire alarm blared. Jared shot up, his room full of smoke. But when he ran into the hallway, expecting chaos, it was silent. No guests. No flashing lights. Just complete darkness. Then he saw it. A figure at the end of the hallway, walking toward him. Slowly. Dragging something heavy. Metal clanked with every step. The figure was completely blackened, charred skin, a burned gown, melted features. He slammed the door and tried dialing 911, but the signal was gone. Desperate, he grabbed his key and bolted into the hallway, only to be thrust into what felt like a ghostly flashback. The hallway was suddenly filled with people, in 1920s attire, running, screaming, on fire. Smoke billowed. Panic everywhere. And in the middle of it stood a woman in a burned wedding dress, her eyes glowing white, her lips moving. I didn't mean to die here. Jared blacked out. When he came to, he was in the hotel lobby with paramedics surrounding him. The hotel manager said they found him passed out in the elevator, clutching his room key. A key that was now melted. They reviewed the security footage. He had never gone up to the 13th floor. In fact, they insisted the hotel doesn't have a 13th floor at all. Just 12, then straight to 14. But Jared remembered the elevator button. He remembered pressing 13. He remembered the room. And the fire. He left Chicago the next day, shaken. But things weren't over. Back at home, Jared's dreams became horror stories for sleep, visions of burned hallways, flickering exit signs, the sound of screaming trapped behind steel doors. Paranormal activity followed him. Alarms going off at 3 a.m. Disembodied footsteps in his hallway. Whispers through vents, saying, "Help me finish the wedding." He tried to document it, thinking they were creepy stories he could rationalize. But the more he resisted, the more the haunted tales escalated. One night, he found a charred key in his mailbox. Same number, 1304. Jared reached out to a paranormal investigator, hoping to uncover the dark secrets of the hotel. The expert revealed that the fire decades ago had occurred during a wedding. A bride, left at the altar, had locked herself in that same conference hall and accidentally started the blaze. They never found her body, just her scorched veil. Every few years, a guest reports seeing her. And every time, the room number is the same, 1304, a room that officially doesn't exist. Now, Jared refuses to sleep in any hotel with more than 12 floors. He avoids elevators. Carries salt in his luggage. And when he hears humming in the middle of the night, he prays it's just the TV. Because some true horror stories aren't about abandoned asylums or forgotten forests. Some terrifying tales happen in places built for comfort, where the line between reality and the paranormal is paper thin. And some floors were never meant for guests. These true horror stories of hotel stays gone terribly wrong remind us of one terrifying truth: not every guest checks out. Whether it's a cursed mirror, a haunted room, or a forgotten floor that shouldn't exist, the line between reality and the supernatural can blur in the most ordinary places. The next time you're checking into a hotel, look twice at your room number. Listen closely to what the walls say at night. And if you ever hear a whisper when you're supposed to be alone, don't answer. Because true scary horror stories, paranormal hauntings, and urban legends might just be more real than you think. If these eerie experiences and chilling scares sent shivers down your spine, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and share the terror. You never know who might need the warning. And remember, next time you're far from home, check the closet. Check the mirrors. And whatever you do, don't take the "do not disturb" sign off. Stay safe. And keep the light